Hey, feeling good, like I should. When in dark, I walk around the neighborhood, feeling blessed.
Hello, 6th grade. Welcome back to your English class. Today is Thursday, May 21st, and our objective today is to continue working on our grammar skills. So I hope you're all ready and excited as I am. Please go get your textbooks and let's get started. Today we are going to learn how to use colons. Now, if you've never heard about this type of punctuation, it's this one right here. How do we use it? Or when do we use it? Well, luckily, it's easy to remember and it's a couple of simple rules. We use them to list items. I would say the most important rule you need to remember about colons is that you can only place them after a complete sentence. If you remember that, it will be much easier to know where they go in a sentence. Also, colons are used to replace periods. For example, let's look at the sentence right here. The archaeologists uncovered artifacts of great importance: eating utensils, animal bones, and a burial box. If you look at the colon right there, and you remove it, and remove the rest of the sentence and place a period, would that still be a complete thought? Yes, it would. So you know that that could stand as a sentence on its own, so the colon was placed correctly. You can replace it, use the colon, and list the items. That would be grammatically correct. Now, another mistake that we commonly make. Even small rooftop gardens can produce beans, squash, tomatoes, and corn. This is incorrect, because if you only say even small rooftop gardens can produce, that's not a complete sentence. Therefore, that colon there is not placed correctly. You could fix it if you remove the colon and just leave the sentence without punctuation after the word produce. That would be one way to fix it. But we could also try to fix the sentence if you were to maybe add something else to the beginning of the sentence to turn it into a complete sentence. How could we make that a complete statement? Maybe we could say, even small rooftop gardens can produce a variety of vegetables. That would be a complete thought. Then you would be able to place the colon and add the items. Now that looks correct. One important thing to remember is that colons give more emphasis to lists. One more misconception is that we use the colon when we don't need to. For example, apartment dwellers can still enjoy gardening in places such as balconies, rooftops, even kitchens. So, if you notice, we have such as, and then we have a colon placed there. But that is not a complete thought on its own, right? Apartment dwellers can still enjoy gardening in places such as? Not a complete sentence. So, apart from that, when you use words as such as, that has the same idea or purpose as if using a colon to introduce something. So if you were to use such as and also a colon, you're repeating yourself. So you can just replace that because in this type of sentences, we do not need the colon. Let's move on to page 89 from our textbooks where we have further explanation on this. Like I said before, colons are commonly used to introduce a list of items, and they're placed after a complete sentence. Like in the example here, we will need a variety of items: paint, paint brushes, and a canvas. That is grammatically correct. Let's try to solve the exercises on the bottom of this page together so we can practice what we learned. So for this type of exercise, we need to read the sentences and rewrite the ones that need a colon. If they do not need one, then we only have to write the word correct on the line. So number 1 says, I packed a lot in my suitcase: clothes, books, and toiletries. So if you really pay attention to the sentence, it sounds like it's a run-on sentence and we need a pause. How do we pause? Well, by adding a colon. And we need a colon right after suitcase, right before you start listing the items. If you say, I packed a lot in my suitcase, that's still a complete thought. Therefore, the colon could go right after that. Number 2, Dr. Anagnos suggested we make some changes, eating healthier, exercising, and getting more sleep. That also sounds like a run-on sentence, like it's too long and it needs a pause. So if we say Dr. Anagnos suggested we make some changes, is that a complete thought? Yes, it is. So your colon should be placed right after that. Sentence number 3 says, I want to learn new things such as architecture, gardening, and design. That doesn't sound like a run-on sentence. I would say that's correct. Number 4, his shop specializes in handmade crafts, paintings, and sculptures. That is also a correct sentence. And number 5, for our history project, we will need a few materials, a poster, markers, and glue. We need a break there, right? So if we say for our history project, we will need a few materials, is that a complete thought? Yes, it is. So your colon should be placed right after materials. Are you still with me? I have a riddle for you and I want to know who can guess it. Do you know what begins with the letter E but only has one letter? Can you guess? Tell me what you think the answer is in the comment section down below. That will be all for today's lesson. Thank you, as usual, for joining me. I encourage you to keep practicing the grammar topics that we've learned so far. Have a great weekend. Talk to you next week. Bye.
Hey, feeling good, like I should. When in dark, I walk around the neighborhood.